Good day, y'all. Once again, I appreciate y'all tuning into the Spoonfed Podcast. You know who I am, but if it's the first time y'all tuning in, my name is Spoon the World, or short abbreviation ST-Dub. You already get it. But check this out. You already know what we're about. We are here to actually explain certain life topics, no matter what it is, so you will gain another understanding about what's going on. Because certain times we need to push in the right direction and don't know where to look. But before we even get to that, today's topic is going to be vulnerability allows serenity, which enhances your quality. I'm going to get back to that topic statement in a second. But before we get to that, you already know you can check me out on Instagram, Facebook. Everything will be in the description. And if you want to chime in on today's sponsor, which is very, very paramount, especially when it deals with the channel, because this is how we actually gain followers. Our sponsors is Splash Clothing NYC. Splash means some people love and some hate. Check us out. That's also in the description. So check that out. But let's get right into it. Today's topic, and I have to break down the statement because a lot of people don't understand the statement of the topic. Vulnerability allows serenity, which enhances your quality. Let me break it down. To be vulnerable, let's break down vulnerability. To be vulnerable means to be susceptible to physical or emotional attack or harm. That's the definition. What is serenity? Serenity is the state of being calm. So now let's look at the topic again. Vulnerability allows serenity, which enhances your quality. You already know what quality means. Quality is making yourself better or worse as an individual or an object. But in this case, we're talking about people. So who are you as a person? Are you better or worse? But by saying that, remember, vulnerability, no matter who you are or where you are from, we have all been vulnerable. If you are learning, if you're trying to grow, you have to be vulnerable. In order to be a person that's trying to learn, you're going to be vulnerable. And what I mean by that is anything you do in life, whether it's work, your love life, family, working out, training, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's your first time doing it, you're going to be vulnerable. Just think about the certain things that you like, but say sports or whatever. Even in school, anytime you came across a new topic, it was a state of confusion, right? So you'd be like, oh, dang, like, I don't get this. But then when you start to get it, no matter, but say sports or math, it's certain things. I still suck at math, but let's just keep it real. Like, if you was learning math, right, you're going to be like, like it's going to twist and turn you until you get it, until you have to buckle down and see exactly what you're not getting to realize what you need to get the answer. That's with anything in life. So when you're doing something, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, especially when you're fresh out the gate doing it for the first time. That's vulnerability. When you are putting yourself on the line and not knowing what you're going to get back. Because you're putting yourself in a certain harm's way. Some is worse than others. But in math, the worst thing that can happen is you get the wrong answer. That's making a mistake. Making mistakes makes you vulnerable. That's all it turns out to be. Making a mistake also makes you better. That's what life is about. To be great, you must make a mistake. And it rhymes. Think about that. In order for you to be great at anything, there must be chaos. Let that sink in. Just think at whether if you're making money or if you're not making money, or if there's something that you're really good at. Think about that. Anything that you're really good at is a moment of time that you didn't know what you was doing until you got your thoughts together or whatever was done in that field to help you gain the knowledge to actually take care of the task at hand. So how many times I can think of one. I'm really good at basketball, right? I'm really good. People that know me is like, but at one point I was trash. I was garbage. Yes, I had to put the little accent on it because I was garbage. But the thing is, when I practiced it because I loved it, I didn't like the idea of me not knowing how to do something that I love. Think about it. I took the time out, practiced, got my weight up, and then all of a sudden I could compete and I'm good. But I was vulnerable because I had to do things that I didn't want to do at times. I had to play people that were better than me. I had to do drills. I had to practice. That takes time. That takes energy. And that takes sacrifice. That's what really comes down to it when you're vulnerable. But let me get more in depth into it. Serenity, when you become good at something, right? It's either a good or bad. And I'm going to get to an example. How many times, especially remember, vulnerability comes in all aspects of life. That is a healthy aspect that I explained to you because I'm understanding what it's going to take to sacrifice to get there. You see what I'm saying? Anytime you're vulnerable in something, you have to sacrifice or give up something of yourself. Either it's your money, energy, time. It takes time to get something good. But I know you heard of people that said, you know what? Let me give you an example. All men ain't good. Men are trash. Or all women ain't good. Those are people that did not understand vulnerability properly. And I'm going to break it down back to the statement. Remember what the statement said. Vulnerability allows serenity. Serenity is just, the definition of serenity is to be calm. So vulnerability allows serenity by understanding vulnerability and understanding what it takes to get to the next step. That's all it means. See, and the key word allows. Once you understand what vulnerability is, then by that definition, it allows you to comprehend what it takes to get to serenity, which is calmness. So understanding what it takes to get there, then you should already be halfway there because you already understand what you have to do to get to that. And the unhealthy part of it, you see people say, oh, I would never do this. I had a bad experience because you didn't. To understand vulnerability, especially within love. I know you hear people say, I would never fall in love again. You can never say that. Even though you was tainted and jaded, doesn't mean that you're faded from the actual emotions. Because remember, we bump into people all the time. You be like, wow, like this person is different. So you can never say that. What I just explained to you is people that express unhealthy regards to vulnerability because they didn't accept the possibility of being let down. Anytime you're vulnerable, there's a chance that you're going to be let down because it's not exactly what you expected. Period. Love, relationships, family, work. You fought for that job. You applied for that job and then you got turned down. How many times did that happen to us? We're like, damn, I wanted this so bad. When one door when one door closes, the next one opens. More than likely, that situation was meant for you to get turned down so you get to a bigger door with a bigger opportunity. But at times, we're so stuck in our emotions that we don't understand what the process is. And the thing is, anytime you're vulnerable and you understand it, you're going to be calm to the next stage because that's going to enhance who you are. Meaning, once you understand your mistakes and your pitfalls, you understand what it takes to get to the next challenge that's going to make you great. Think about it. It might be annoying. It might be troubling, like especially when it comes to love, because let me dive into that real quick, because that's one part I hear the most when people are vulnerable. Oh, I would never fall in love. I would never do this. I would never say that because life is like the roll of the dice. You never know. But the thing is, you have to have a healthy understanding of what vulnerability is. Now, let me get down to the right healthy parts. When you have a healthy idea of vulnerability, you get an understanding, you get relief, you get knowledge, and you get satisfaction. How many times do you sacrifice for something and then you actually achieved your goal? At times, if you're active, we have achieved certain things. People that's watching this, you that's watching this, there's certain things that you did in your life that you achieved certain goals because you were vulnerable and you accepted it. Whether it's school, whether it's a goal that you had, whether it's losing weight, whether it's accomplishing a task. You know, we all been through it. We win some and we lose some. You know what I'm saying? But the whole thing is, when you have a healthy understanding, you gain understanding. And remember, understanding is the main identity of calmness. Once you understand something, you're like, I understand what's going on. Once you understand something, you're not really going to get upset. You're like, whatever, right? It might irk your nerves, but that's understanding yourself at the end of the day. But when it comes to the wrong side of vulnerability, when people don't understand it, I'm going to give you a perfect example. Vulnerability can lead to hostility. How many times somebody, or you've seen this in the street, a guy or a woman lashing out on somebody that they thought loved them, but it was the total opposite. It can get deadly. That's why I say don't play with people's emotions, but that's another topic. So being vulnerable in love and not having the healthy idea of vulnerability, you could become hostile. Or what happens to a lot of people, especially women and certain dudes, misery. You see people are always upset, pissed off, and they're miserable because they don't understand the situation and they don't want to grasp what really happened. So they carry that pain continuously. And you know what that is? That's living in hell. When you live through something continuously over and over in your head, that's living through hell because you're putting unnecessary pressure on your body and your brain because you can't focus. Number 3, trust issues. This is big and common. How many times is you met a woman or a man that's jaded? Even myself, I have trust issues, real talk. But the thing is, I accepted that. You see what I'm saying? I was vulnerable enough and I went through the pain and be like, bro, I have trust issues, but I can admit that. But that doesn't mean that when I see somebody, I just don't trust them off the back. I go off the energy. I see certain things and I understand. And the quality of myself of going through that is more easy because I understand myself. But trust issues and your confidence can be broken when it comes to unhealthy vulnerability, especially if you don't know yourself. That's number 3. This is big. Number 4, depression. A lot of people, especially when they've been done wrong, or even if it's not their fault, they just don't, you have to let it go. That's going to be the next topic of the podcast, but let me get back to this. Depression. A lot of people fall into depression state when they become vulnerable and they was done wrong, especially if they didn't get the results that they wanted, whether that could be a love, girlfriend, boyfriend, relationship, family, and you just put too much expectations in a situation and you got let down. The thing is, keep going. Let it go and keep going because the only person that can stop you is you. So it might hurt, it might piss you off, but the whole thing is take time to yourself and keep going. But if you do these steps, it's like I said, the first other steps, if you did it the right way, understanding, relief, knowledge, and satisfaction, if you do these steps and have a better understanding of yourself, you will have a healthy understanding of vulnerability and a healthy understanding of how to be calm in certain situations. And this could improve your quality because once you have a better understanding of being vulnerable and understanding what it takes to accomplish your goals and dreams, or just to accomplish or root yourself over any problems, you have to understand yourself and understand the task at hand. But when you understand the task at hand, it brings a certain serenity, calmness, meaning you can have chaos all around you, but the true soldier, the real soldier, knows how to operate in chaos. Why you think they would like anytime it comes to experience, people say, well, what's your experience? Just imagine you trying to sign up for a job or a job interview. They're like, oh, what's your experience? If you say, especially if you were trying to be in a hospital or a nurse, if you say I was in a battlefield, they're like, so that means you operated in chaos. So you working here. This is not like the battlefield. I'm just saying an example for the hospital. If you was doing an interview for a hospital and you was interviewing for a nurse, and then they say, where did you work at? And you'd be like, I was in the army. I was in Iraq working on soldiers in the middle of the battlefield. So that means you have serenity. You was vulnerable in the battlefield because you could have been killed, but you're here. So you made it through the battlefield, whether it was people dying in front of you, you kept your mind, and then you built up a certain type of serenity, which you evolved in that atmosphere. So now you enhanced your quality. Now you're here getting a job where we're going to hire you. You see the example? So the whole point is, once you understand vulnerability, it allows certain serenity, which enhances your quality, depending how you use it. Stay dangerous. Much love, y'all. And I hope you learned something. So the main goal is, no matter what you do in life, you're going to be vulnerable. Whatever you learn, you're going to be vulnerable. But the thing is, how do you deal with it? How do you understand, relate, and adapt? Then by doing that in a healthy manner, then you can increase your quality. And nobody can stop you. Stay dangerous. Much love, y'all.